Redemption. This is a movie that stars Jason Statham as this kind of broken down war veteran. You can tell he's a good guy deep down, but he's done some bad things, and as a result of that, he's kind of he's hurt. He's deeply hurt, and he's trying to make sense of the world and trying to prove to the world that he's still a good guy at heart. And you really feel for that message, and Jason Statham delivers a great performance in this movie. The movie is really focused on two main characters. Jason Statham and this other lady who's a nun is devoted to the cause and is very religious and very giving. She's always volunteering at homeless shelters. She's always giving back. She's a really awesome character, but you get a sense that there's like more than meets the eye. And it's awesome to see her grow and develop over time throughout the movie. She and Jason Statham have an awesome chemistry throughout the movie, and both act really well, and you really get drawn into them, into the stories, and into who they are. So definitely recommend checking it out if you like deep 3D characters that evolve over time instead of just stay who they are. She's also surprisingly funny. Like, she makes comments that I wouldn't think a nun would make, but they're still funny and nevertheless. It's really awesome. It's set in London, and it has a runtime of approximately 1 hour 40 minutes. So it's a bit of a long one. The genre, as I'd put this under, is transformation revenge movie, where you have a character who starts out one way, and then over the course of events and stuff, starts to learn about the world and see the truth, and starts to change as a person and becomes more developed, more 3D. You really develop a bond with Jason Statham and the nun lady throughout the entire movie. Very engaging. So if you're a fan of revenge action movies that are gritty and effective, it deals with themes of purpose, of goodness, good versus evil. The director, in my opinion, does a great job of showing you the balance between the two and what exactly it means to be good versus evil, which is fantastic. As I mentioned before, you really fall in love with the characters, and the movie itself is pretty engaging. There's always something happening, beautifully shot, really bright, vibrant colors, and the acting's fantastic. So if you're a fan of great acting, great setting, and thought-provoking action movies that have a deep message that's pretty easy to understand, like the director very obviously explained the difference between good and evil and toys with that idea in your mind. It's definitely a movie that it is rated R, so there is action, you know, there is language, but it's not that gritty and it's not that dark. It's not too dark. It is well shot, and the fight scenes are really sick. You can really feel the Jason Statham punches. You know, I grew up on Jason Statham and watching Transporter and Mechanic and all those movies, and he's a little bit different in this movie. In those, where he used to be the die-hard, super strict, job needs to be done kind of vibe, here he's definitely a different character. He's more developed. He's an actual human being who's seen stuff and affected by it, you know. So if you're a fan of PTSD movies where characters are dealing with the effects of PTSD and the effect of that on civilian life, right? Because a lot of us don't understand, but war is horrific, and there's things you see there that, you know, you see on TV, you see on video games per se, and you might be like, oh, it's no big deal. But if you see that kind of stuff in real life, go through that stuff in real life, it's horrific. And this movie gives you a fantastic look into what somebody like that might be going through and the kinds of situations they deal with and how difficult that really is. It's awesome to see the growth in Jason Statham, and you really root for him the entire time. The fans of revenge movies like Equalizer, where there's a clear bad guy and you want them to pay for it, right? That's this type of movie. So if you want to see Jason Statham go through some personal development, really learn the effect of PTSD. But then also, if you want a revenge movie where you learn about good versus evil, you learn about how to be a 3D person, then it's a fantastic movie, and I highly recommend checking it out. I would say the perfect setting for this movie is it can be watched with parents. There are some specific scenes and themes that are a little bit darker, so if your parents are more traditional or stuff, I would urge, it's great to watch with friends. It's a pretty cool action movie. So I'd recommend like an end of the day, not necessarily a de-stress movie, because the themes and what's going on in this movie are serious, but nevertheless, it's not as mind-draining as some other movies, and it's not really a mystery or anything, so you don't have to think too much. And the visuals, really well done. I would recommend it as a movie with the boys, honestly, just because it's entertaining. It's a good time. So I would give this movie a 4 out of 5. Definitely recommend watching. Definitely one you'd want to put down work and invest time in. Totally worth the ride if you resonate with anything I mentioned earlier. Moving on to the parental review. So this movie is an action movie, so there's a lot of violence. It's not outrageous like John Wick or anything like that. It's not too much violence, but it is visible, and there's blood, bone breaks, and it's visceral violence. So it's not cutaway violence. So it's not like he'll punch and then somebody will reel back afterward. He'll punch, you'll see the connection, and then you'll see the effect. So if you're a fan of actual action movies where you get to really like be in the action and feel it, it's pretty cool. So I would recommend checking it out. So spoiler alert, there is a scene where Jason Statham watches all his friends get killed in front of him. It's a graphic scene, and more than that, it's visceral because it gives you a sense of the impact that seeing something like this would have on a human being. If you've seen themes like that in movies before and not been affected, or if you don't think that would mess with your mind or really affect you, then I would recommend checking out this movie. In terms of sexual content, I would rate this a 4. There is visible nudity. However, they're all in paintings, so I'm not really sure why the director chose to add these in. They don't add anything to the movie whatsoever. There's only one joke they ever make about it. Go to a art gallery where there's like nude paintings of men's PVs. It's like you could have chosen to have the setting at a different art gallery if you wanted. You wouldn't have this R-rated like for nudity going on, but there are, and they're visible and they're apparent. So definitely wouldn't recommend watching with your family if that's something your family would be bothered by. I've included timestamp above so you can skip past it if you desire, but I am warning you, they are there and they're apparent. Throughout the movie, there is a theme of prostitution, deals with the darkness of prostitution, and so if that's something you don't want your kids seeing, or you don't want to watch that type of content with your friends or something, then I would recommend skipping past the movie. But if you don't mind, I would recommend the movie altogether. For language, I would give it a 3 out of 5. It's not fully super apparent, but there are F words. It is an R-rated movie. It's not too noticeable, but there is strong language. And with that concludes the parental guide. To end off this review, I'll just go through a couple of lessons and cool things I learned from this movie. Obviously, the first most apparent is the impact of PTSD on a human being. The goal, the lesson of the movie was to show you that anyone can change, right? So this is Jason Statham. He's a hardened war veteran, right? He's done some stuff, and that stuff's broken him, but he is still like, the way he walks, he's a veteran, you know, he's super savage. But as the movie goes on, you see that there's human in there, you know, like, yeah, he's broken down by war, everything he saw, but also there's a glimpse of goodness in there that is struggling to come out. Anyone can change, even the hardest of criminals, even the strongest of men. All it takes is for you to change how you think, to start treating people with respect. You'll have good things coming your way. There's also the apparent theme of like karma's a bitch throughout the movie. Like, characters that choose bad routes have obvious consequences that occur. You know, if you just stick to doing good, helping people, you won't go wrong. So, and with that concludes my review. If you like this video, smash the like button and subscribe. It really helps me out. And other than that, have a fantastic day.